These are the snap filters, the world's first MagSafe filter system for the iPhone 12 onwards. They consist of a metal MagSafe base, where you slot in one of the many different filters for the system. The magnet is nice and strong, it's not going to come off easily, and the filters are of a very high quality. The whole system is very slick and neat.
We've got some sun that's come out, thankfully, and that means I'm going to use the gold anamorphic flare, take off the ND, and then put it on. The reason I've got this hold on there is so I can have it on this tripod, which makes it easy for me to attach the Insta360 X32, and also if I want to do any tripod shots. But of course you don't need this just to use it, because it is MagSafe. Just attaches to the mag part of it, which I believe is short for magnet. Anyway, let's put some diffusion on my favourite filters.
My favourite filters are the Black Mist, the Gold Streak and the dull but essential ND filters, of which there are 4 different strengths. There are also Blue Streak filters and a Star filter too. Both the Streak filters come in horizontal and vertical, mostly so you can get horizontal flares for both normal and vertical video, but if you want vertical flares you can of course get those. The filters cover all 3 cameras, or 2 cameras if that's what your phone has. You need to use it with a naked iPhone right now, as the filters need to be snug against the lenses to avoid ghosting, and most cases make this not possible. But I believe the company behind these are bringing out their own cases, or may even let you know which ones you can use, if like me you prefer to keep your phone protected.
So I'm using ND4 right now, being a bit conservative. I could have something stronger. I do need something stronger at the sun. But because I'm using the built-in iPhone app, I have no ability to know what my shutter speed or ISO is at. So therefore, well, I've just got to be very careful. Last thing I want is for the ND to cause the camera to push the ISO up or drop my shutter speed to below the optimum level. So really, Filmic Pro or something similar is what you need. It's a shame Apple can't just add in manual control, some pro mode for their camera. So we have these things, because things like cinematic mode only work in the built-in app. I'm stuck right now, I need to, I get my feet wet. It's coming up fast. I need to go around. Hopefully I've gone round enough and the water hasn't caught up to this point. It's very hard to tell if it's straight. It's very difficult, not a lot of reference in there. I think that's level. Let's come back a bit.
I shoot most of my video each year with the iPhone. Yeah, basically my cats. Way more than with a proper camera. Whilst the video that you've shot on the phone looks great whilst looking at it on the phone, once you bring it into the computer, that's when I see all the ugliness of the overprocessing. Even if you shoot in ProRes HQ, it basically looks the same, so there's not much point. You cannot turn off this stuff. The over-sharpening is baked in, which is such a shame. With Filmic Pro on most Android phones, you can actually adjust the sharpening and noise reduction in the app, just not on iOS. If I could, I would leave the black mist on the iPhone permanently, as it does a really nice job of blooming those highlights and taking the edge off of that very video look. Thankfully, with good old Topaz Labs Video Enhance AI, I think I mention this in every single video these days, I'm able to make the iPhone video footage look way less harsh. And it's also great for improving image from the cinematic mode, which on my 13 Pro Max is 1080p 30p. It can also help with the high frame rate modes of 1080p, 120 frames per second, and to a lesser degree, the 240 frames per second. When I use cinematic mode, I rarely have it set to a larger aperture than f8, especially if the subject is close up to me. But it all depends on your subject, the background, and your distance from them. If you want to get the best results, you have to take all of these factors into account. Despite the additional thickness added by the filter base, you can still use it with many gimbals. I have tried it with the DJI OM6 and it works fine. But it's worth checking with the company who make them, Pan Scheme, if you have a different gimbal and just want to be safe. Overall, I am impressed with the quality of them. I think it's a very clever system and I'm surprised nobody's made one before. I would love to be able to stack the filters because I love to have diffusion and ND together, but I was told there'd be too much ghosting. But they will be bringing out more filters, including NDs with diffusion built in, which will be very welcome. I'd also love to have a variable ND and a circular polarizer, but it isn't possible with this design. Although I did ask them if it was possible for them to make an empty filter with a 62mm or 67mm thread on the outside of it to accept standard filters, so I could use my variable NDs and circular polarizers. They said they're working on it, and it looks like they're going to be able to, which is great news for when I need that additional fine control over my exposure. But for the rest of the time, I'm just going to use their filters because it's such a neat and slick system.